So picture this, it's a single night in March 2018, and the skies over Riyadh, Saudi Arabia just light up with explosions. The official story that comes out is one of perfect defense, a high-tech shield holding strong. But as the smoke started to clear, a very different and honestly a much more complicated picture began to emerge. So let's dig in and figure out what really happened that night.
And this is the absolute core of it all, the big question. The official report was a clean sweep. 7 missiles fired, 7 missiles destroyed. But was it really a story of flawless interception, or was it actually a near-catastrophic failure of one of the world's most advanced air defense systems? The truth, as we're about to see, is really hidden in the details.
Okay, so first things first, we need to set the stage with the official version of events. Let's look at the story as it was told to the world, the undisputed facts that, at least initially, everyone seemed to agree on.
The date you need to remember is March 26, 2018. From right across the border in Yemen, Houthi forces launched this big, coordinated barrage of 7 ballistic missiles. Now, this wasn't the first attack of the war, not by a long shot, but it was one of the most audacious, aiming for multiple targets all across the kingdom.
Now, this is where it starts to get really interesting. You look at the official data here, and you see the targets included the capital's international airport, a major civilian target. But look closer at the casualties. Despite the claims of a perfect, 100% successful defense, there were casualties on the ground. One person was tragically killed and 2 others were injured by what was officially called falling debris. That little detail? It's a huge piece of the puzzle.
And here we have it, the official word from the Saudi-led coalition spokesman. The statement couldn't be clearer. All 7 ballistic missiles were intercepted and destroyed. A perfect score, 100% success. This was the narrative that was broadcast to the entire world, a powerful demonstration of absolute defensive superiority.
But, almost as soon as that statement was made, the cracks started to show. That perfect picture began to fracture as citizen journalists, open-source intelligence analysts, and missile experts all started piecing together a completely different story based on what they were seeing on the ground.
And then you get this quote from Jeffrey Lewis, who's a leading expert in this field, and it is absolutely staggering. I mean, he didn't just question the 100% success rate, he suggested the success rate might have actually been 0. So how is that possible? How can you have 2 completely opposite realities, one of total success and one of total failure, existing at the exact same time? Well, the answer is in the evidence.
So people started posting videos online, and what they showed, well, it just didn't fit the official story at all. You had one interceptor missile that spectacularly malfunctioned, making a U-turn in midair and slamming right back into a neighborhood in Riyadh. Another one just seems to blow up right after it launches. And maybe the most damning evidence of all, pieces of the incoming Houthi missiles that were found on the streets had intact warheads and bodies. They showed no signs of being hit by shrapnel from a Patriot interceptor.
Okay, so if the videos are right, and these defense systems failed, you have to ask, why? Was it just bad luck? Some kind of operator error, or was there something fundamentally wrong with the technology? Turns out, the answer points to a high-stakes game of technological cat and mouse.
To really get what went wrong here, we gotta geek out a little bit on the hardware. We need to compare the weapon being fired with the shield trying to stop it, because this might have been an unfair fight, just not in the way anyone expected.
So on one side, you've got the Houthi Birkin missile. Now, analysts are pretty sure this is a version of Iran's Qiyam-1 missile, and it has one crucial feature, a separating warhead. Think of it like a space capsule ditching its big booster rocket after launch. On the other side, you've got the US-made Patriot PAC-2 system. And here's the kicker. It was mostly designed back in the late 80s to shoot down older missiles, like Scuds, which don't have separating warheads. It was basically built to fight a different kind of war.
And this right here is why that whole separating warhead thing is such a huge deal. The PAC-2 works like a giant shotgun shell in the sky. It doesn't have to hit its target directly, it just explodes nearby, and the shrapnel is supposed to shred the incoming missile. But what happens when the missile it's chasing drops its big, empty fuel tank? The defense system's radar might go for the bigger, easier target, the useless booster, while the warhead, the part that actually goes boom, just sails right on by, completely untouched. It's easy to get lost in the details of this one night of missile fire over Riyadh. But to really understand why it matters, we have to zoom out and see it for what it is, one battle in a much larger and rapidly intensifying regional conflict.
This strike is a direct consequence of the Yemeni civil war.
which has basically become a huge stage for the proxy war between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Iran gives the Houthis weapons, technology, and training, and that allows them to project power way beyond Yemen's borders and challenge Saudi defenses head-on.
And get this, the threat didn't stop in 2018. In fact, it went into overdrive. This number, from a report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, is just startling. By 2021, the average number of Houthi attacks, we're talking missiles, drones, the whole shebang, had skyrocketed to 78 per month.
And this chart just drives the point home. Look at that jump. The average number of attacks more than doubled in just 1 year, going from 38 a month in 2020 to 78 in 2021. That's not just a random uptick. It's a persistent, evolving, and intensifying campaign designed to put the maximum possible pressure on Saudi Arabia.
And of course, this wasn't all happening in a vacuum. The international community was watching. The UN Security Council repeatedly condemned these attacks, especially on civilian areas, which just goes to show how this regional proxy war has massive global implications for security and diplomacy. And that really leaves us with this massive, kind of scary question. The Riyadh strike exposed a fundamental problem in modern conflict. A Houthi missile might cost just a few $1,000s to build. A single Patriot interceptor costs millions. So when the attacker can throw cheap weapons at you all day and you have to defend with incredibly expensive ones, who really has the advantage? It's a question that completely redefines the economics of war itself.